Now, goal setting, it sounds simple, right? You just set a goal, then you go after it. Mm-mm. Goal setting is something that I screwed up for years. I was the poster child of making resolutions and of being all talk, no walk. I was part of the 81% of people that had bailed on my resolutions by the time January 1st rolled around. That is, until I dug into the research, read the books, studied the experts, and figured out how you set goals and do it right according to what research has to say. And I want to talk to you about this today because I am getting an avalanche of questions and messages about setting goals and breaking and making new habits, like this one from Dave.
Hey Mel, this is Dave. I'm wondering if you can talk about goal setting and how to do it right. There's a lot of talk about resolutions and goals, especially with the new year coming up. And in the past, I've had a hard time setting them and achieving goals. Could you give me any tips?
First, I want to say to you, Dave, thank you for this question because you're not the only one that has a hard time setting and achieving goals. And I'm not only going to give you tips today, we are going to have a master class in goal setting. In fact, I am so excited by the number of you that are looking for information about ways to set and achieve goals this year that I've decided we're going to do something a little different. For the next month or so, you and I are going to dig into the most foundational and important building blocks that you need in order to create lasting change in your life. These are the topics that I have been researching and teaching around the world. These are the topics that I write about in my books and in our audio projects with Audible. This is what I have been studying for years. And so here's what we're going to do. And I am so excited about this. For at least the next month, all of the coming episodes are going to be master classes, toolkits, 101s on the most important topics when it comes to personal development, success, happiness, creating a better life. Today, we're going to dive into goal setting, but then we're going to jump right into habits, mindset, anxiety, relationships, mental health, healing your nervous system and trauma, confidence, boundaries, happiness, meaning, and purpose. Why? Well, because these are the foundational pillars to create a better life. And when you understand these topics and the latest research, most importantly, you have simple tools that you can apply immediately to your own life. That's a game changer. And so that's what we're going to be doing in every single episode. Why? Well, change is always going to be hard. Always. I'm not going to lie to you about that. But neuroscience, academic research, and other people's personal experiences can provide unbelievable insights into how, when, and why behavior change efforts on your part can succeed or fail. And I want you to have all of this and be able to use it to your advantage. I already mentioned that 81% of people give up on their goals. Well, guess what? That's not going to be you, because you, my friend, are going to have the science, the tools, the strategies, the shortcuts to not only making change happen, but making it stick. And so this awesome series that we are programming and bringing to life for you is going to begin today with the topic of goal setting. Because one of the things that I know based on the research is that no change will last in your life if it's not personally connected to you. And no goal will be achieved if you don't have a connection to why you want to achieve it. And so I figured if we're going to do a big series that's going to give you the foundational aspect and most recent research around changing your life, we better start with an episode where you identify personal, relevant, and achievable goals that you're excited about. That way, every single other episode that you hear in this series for the next month or so, it's going to help you achieve something that really matters to you. And the fact is, goals matter. According to the research, and you probably have experienced this when you have been working on goals, goals matter because number one, they make you happier. Number two, they suppress negative emotions. And in fact, based on some groundbreaking research out of the University of Wisconsin, having goals that you're working on can even suppress feelings of fear and depression. I mean, that's pretty cool. Third, goals give you a sense of purpose, meaning, and being up to something. In fact, I just had a conversation with our daughter, Sawyer, who was saying that she's kind of in a rut. She's like, I just feel like my life is the same old, same old. Like every day is the same damn day. And it's only gotten worse because she works remote, and she's worked remote for over a year and a half since she first interned for the company she works for as a senior in college. She's almost never gone into the office. No holiday parties, no nothing in person. Every day she sits at her desk at home and works virtually. She hangs out with her roommates who she loves, but it's like the same thing in and out. You want to know what's going to fix this? Goals. Because when you have goals, it interrupts the day-to-day doldrum. It gives you something to look forward to. It makes you feel like something cool is happening. And that leads me to the fourth benefit. Life is harder when you have no goals. Based on the research, having goals makes your life feel easier. And I think even just that little story I just told you about my daughter feeling like she's in a rut, you can see that when you're in a rut, life is hard. When you feel stuck, when things are monotonous, it's hard. When you got something that excites you, something that you're working toward, that's pretty awesome. And that's why you and me, we are going to start with your goals because they matter. And what also matters is how you set them. Because if you don't set goals the right way, based on science, you fail before you even start. And that was Mel Robbins for years. So think of this episode as a comprehensive toolkit that will help you make goals that are going to keep you inspired, that you can achieve, that are going to make you feel excited about the year ahead and what you're up to. And I have one promise to share with you. You're not only going to learn a lot today, by the time this episode is done, you're going to have identified between 1 and 3 goals. And you're going to do it with me, side by side, as I identify 1 to 3 goals for myself. And we are also going to apply the latest research every single step of the way. And I want to share that up front because I expect your goals to change from the beginning of this episode until the very end, because you are going to be applying the research all the way through this episode. By the end of our conversation, you're not only going to have defined these goals, you will have refined them, and you will have taken steps toward them. How freaking cool is that? So make sure you listen all the way to the end because we are going to cover a ton of ground today. So let me just preview what you're going to learn today. We're going to start by unpacking really exciting research that's pretty recent out of the University of Oregon that simplifies goal setting into 2 major components of what makes up a goal. And if you don't have these 2 major components present when you set your goals, you will fail. Seeing this study made me realize why I have failed in the past at setting certain goals. I'll tell you those stories because I think that they're going to help you. But this is really exciting stuff because it's super simple and there's so much research here. Second, as you begin to identify the goals using these 2 components that we're going to unpack, I'm going to walk you through the 5 mistakes that everybody makes that prevent you from achieving your goals. And you're not going to make these mistakes because now that you got your goals identified based on the University of Oregon research, we're going to make sure we refine those goals using the 5 mistakes so that you can avoid the pitfalls that I know I've fallen into. And step by step by step, we are going to support you. I'm so excited for this episode, honestly, because I'm going to do this with you. And you're also going to learn about a widely reported study regarding whether or not you should talk about your goals. This is a study that people cite all over the place that has been debunked. And I will tell you the new research related to whether or not you should ever talk about your goals. Okay? Cool. You ready? I got to take a breath because there's a lot we're going to do. Whew. I'm really, really excited about this. I love goals. And I also love this recent research that I found from Dr. Elliot Berkman at the University of Oregon. Now, Dr. Berkman is the co-director of the Center for Translational Neuroscience, and he studies the motivational and cognitive factors that contribute to success or failure at achieving goals. I mean, he's figured this out for both of us. How cool is this? And when you hear this research, this is kind of one of those studies where you're like, well, that makes a hell of a lot of sense. Why did nobody tell me this? So first, let's start with his definition of a goal, okay? Dr. Berkman's definition of a goal is this. A goal is any desired outcome that wouldn't otherwise happen without you doing something. Let me unpack this. This is kind of illuminating, okay? So, a goal is any desired outcome that wouldn't otherwise happen without you doing something. So, I'll give you an example of a goal. Let's say that this was the year that you're like, that's it, I'm getting six-pack abs this year. If you have a goal of getting six-pack abs, you have to do something different. That's why it's a goal. If you have a goal of getting out of debt, for example, you have to do something to make that goal happen. Let me give you an example of what is not a goal. Watching that series that you're addicted to right now, for my family, it's Gangs of London. I don't have to do anything different to watch the series Gangs of London. You see how that's not a goal? The reason why it's not a goal is there is zero resistance. There is zero change. There's zero that I have to do differently. Goals naturally contain friction and resistance because they require you to do something new. Now, that might sound obvious, but if you don't get that a goal is going to require you to push through some kind of resistance, you're going to fail at setting them. They're going to be way too easy, okay? So let's start applying this to your life right now. I want you to think about an area of your life that you would like to improve or where you want to set a goal. So just stop and think about the coming year. What is an area of your life that you want to improve or where you want to make a new goal? I have 3 that I'm going to share with you. And one of my goals for the coming year is in the area of free time and hobbies and having fun. A second goal of mine is going to impact my health in a positive way. And the third is about my mindset and focus and clarity. So I'm going to unpack these and I invite you to listen along. And as I'm explaining my goals, think about what you're inspired to change, where you're willing to do something different. So I'm going to start with number 1, hobbies and having more fun. I really want to spend more time. One goal of mine this year is to spend more time gardening. I just love gardening, not vegetables. I like flowers, landscape. And I want to make sure a goal of mine this year is that I spend more time gardening. That's one goal. Now, a second goal that I have for this year is related to my health. And I want to stop drinking for a while this year. And I can get into more as we unpack this and go through the research, but that's a goal of mine, to really just knock off the booze for a bit. And third is about my mindset. I want to get back, this is a goal of mine, to a consistent journaling practice every single morning. There are things that I do every single morning that have zero resistance. I don't even have to think about it. I roll out of bed when the alarm rings, no resistance. I high-five the mirror every morning and set an intention. I have no resistance. I have a cup of coffee every morning, no resistance. I typically move my body most mornings, no resistance. But something that I really want to make a goal of mine is having a consistent journaling practice every single morning. That would be pretty cool for me. So I want you to now stop and think about you. What are goals that you have for the coming year that are going to require you to do something different in order to make this goal happen? Now, I want to stop for a second because I want to address something that you may be thinking right now because it's a question I'm seeing a lot.
Hey Mel, how do I set my goals if I can't determine what my goals are?
I absolutely love this question. And by the way, it's super common to have no idea what you want. And I'm going to give you a number of research-backed strategies that you can use to kind of cut through the uncertainty or the overwhelm or the fog in your brain and identify at least one goal by the end of this podcast that is personal and motivating to you. But I also want to talk about something that gets in a lot of people's way other than just not being sure what your goal should be, and that's perfectionism. If you're the kind of person that is constantly aiming for these crazy high and unattainable goals, that's very demotivating because super high goals, unattainable goals what happens is you don't achieve those. And so you start to feel like a failure. And perfectionism can get in your way of setting goals because you start to figure, well, if you don't set a goal, then you can't fail. Perfectionism, according to the research around goal setting, looks a lot like this. You set goals, but then you give up before you start. Or you want to set goals, but you burn all your time just kind of analyzing and analysis paralysis. Or you also just avoid the situations where you feel like you're going to fail. So here's an example. You are really wanting to take your health seriously this year. And you set a goal of going to the gym every single day and exercising for 2 hours a day. And like, you literally fail before you even start because you're trying to get it perfect. And we're going to address that. Don't you worry. So whether you're dealing with brain fog or you're dealing with perfectionism, this is super common to not really know what your goals are. So let's talk about the research, okay? These are prompts that are going to help you to relax and to dream a little bit and to lean into goals that are really going to make a difference in your life. Because I want you to have goals. They really matter. So number one, it's really important that you make sure that your goals are really aligned with your dreams. And if you can't come up with any goals that really inspire you, this is going to sound counterintuitive, but I want to invite you to think even bigger. If you allow yourself to start dreaming again, then what you and I can do, if you can identify the dream, is you and I can then use the research to scale that big, awesome dream of yours back and turn it into small, achievable goals. This is based in research. And so I invite you, if you don't know what you want, allow yourself to dream big again. And then we'll get into the research about how to make that big dream a smaller goal. Now, here's a second tip. And this one's a little morbid, but it tends to work. If you don't know where to start, think about the end, like the real end, your death. When you think about the fact that at some point this amazing thing called life comes to an end, what do you want to have achieved in your life? When you think about it in reverse, trust me, you're not going to wish that you spent more days at work. You're going to wish that you spent more time outside or more time with family. You're going to wish that you did pick up the guitar. You're going to wish that you did take on some of the goals that are buried deep within your heart. And so if you truly feel stuck, think about your own death. Research shows that it prompts you to get in touch with what matters to you. Now, you could also, if that doesn't float your boat, you can also just get quiet. And this is based in powerful research. Basically, mindful individuals are way better at setting the right goals for themselves. And I personally believe that one of the reasons why is that when you have a mindfulness practice, whether it's a meditation practice or heck, just get out in the woods for a walk. Have you noticed that if you ever take a long walk on a beach, that by the end of that 30-minute stroll, you've worked out a lot of your problems in life because you've gotten quiet? If you get quiet, you can hear the most important sound in the world, and that's your own voice. And that matters when it comes to goal setting because the best goals are those goals that are personally relevant, meaningful, and enjoyable to you. Now, researchers have a term for this. They call goals that are personal to you self-concordant goals or want-to goals. This comes from researchers at Carleton University. I like to call these goals personal goals. Getting in touch with yourself helps you set these kind of concordant goals. They are not goals that you feel pressure to do out of obligation. I think we've all taken on those goals, right? Where you're like, all right, everybody's getting in shape. Oh, everybody's doing Whole30. Oh, everybody's doing this. Guess I better do that too. Those kind of goals don't work because you're not interested in those goals. You want goals that are in touch with something personal to you. And here's another really interesting little hack that really works. You're going to use the third person. So using a third person perspective, according to research at Cornell, can help you identify and achieve personal goals better. And so now I'm going to turn it back to you again. And I want you to use the third person research from Cornell. I'm going to use it first. And then I do want you to say your goals out loud, okay? I've already shared my goals, but let's make these Cornell University style goals, okay? And let's do the third person. Mel would really love to spend more time gardening this year. It feels kind of funny when you say that. It's almost like it's happening. Now you say it. What would you love to do? Say it in the third person in your name. Here's another one of mine. Mel has a goal to not drink at the beginning of this year. It sounds like more authoritative. It really, you got to try this. It's so wacky how this works. Mel, you know that Mel? She would love to get up every day and have a rock solid journaling routine. It's weird how that Cornell University works. And now it's your turn. Use the third person. Take a minute, hit pause, and say what you want out loud. Go ahead. It's kind of weird, isn't it, when you use your own name? And look, it's okay if it's super general. Mine are really general. Did you notice that? My goals right now, they're just things I kind of want to do. I want to journal. I want to not drink for a couple months. And I want to spend more time gardening. But by the time this episode is done, you and I are going to refine these general statements, these goals, using research. And so let's dig into this exciting research that I promised to talk about from the University of Oregon. So here's the most important thing about goals. And I love this study because it boils goals down into two things that have to be present. If these two components of a goal are not present, you're not doing shit when it comes to this goal. I have experienced this in my life. You have experienced this, and I can't wait for you to hear this. So the two components to achieving any goal is that there must be what researchers call the will and the way. The will of any goal refers to the motivational and emotional aspects of the behavior change. In other words, the why. The will is the why of behavior change. So let me ask you a couple questions that researchers kind of unpacked in this study that are going to help you really clarify the why when it comes to the goals that you're thinking about as you and I are talking right now. Why is the behavior change important to you? Why do you want to change? Why now? And I'm going to go through these and I'm going to use one of my goals, gardening. Why is the behavior change important to you? Well, it's important to me, this goal of spending more time this year gardening, because I love gardening. And I've talked a lot on this podcast about how I am addicted to being busy and it causes a lot of stress. And when I'm out in the garden, it's super relaxing. It's really creative. I love growing flowers from seed. I love cutting flowers and bringing them in. The second question, why do you want to change? I want to change because I want to be present more in my life. I want to change because I want to get serious about having more fun and being more creative. And this third question, why now? Why now? Why is this a goal now in your life? Well, for me, why now is because I just feel called to do it. I feel like if I'm ever going to break this addiction to being busy and I'm going to find more time to truly enjoy my life, I have to get serious about making that change now. Like, why wait? And so I feel called to do it. So that's the first part. And I want you to ask those questions of yourself for any goal you want to set. Why is the behavior important to you? Why do you want to change? Why now? And if you don't have an answer to those questions, that goal that you're thinking about will not work, because the will to do it, the motivation, the why, it's not going to be there because it's not personal to anything to you. Now let's talk about the second component, okay? The second component in this study from the University of Oregon is the way. And the way refers to the cognitive and informational aspects of the behavior change. I call this the how. The way is the how of behavior change. And so let me walk you through those questions. How is this behavior change going to unfold? What skills and capacities does it require? What is the specific plan for doing it? And for me, the behavior change that's going to unfold is I am going to study how to create a cutting garden. I'm going to build my own like little, what are they called? Like raised bed thingies that you kind of put the thingies in. I'm going to learn about cultivating flowers from seeds. What skills and capacities does it require? Well, a lot for me. What is the specific plan? I'm in the middle of creating the plan. And I think you can start to see as you ask yourself these questions about the goal that you have. How's this behavior change going to unfold? What skills and capacities does it require? What is the specific plan for getting this done? I think you can see that if you don't identify the how, that change ain't happening. Because willpower alone, motivation alone, it's not enough. You got to have, according to the research, both the why and the how in order to be successful at changing behavior. And so the takeaway here, based in science, is that any goal requires two things. There must be a will and a way, a why and a how. And here's why this is really interesting. Neuroscience has revealed that your brain system involved in those two sides of the behavior change are entirely different from one another. So, for example, the how you're going to make this goal a reality, that's all the brain circuits that are involved in executive functioning, including your prefrontal cortex, among other areas of the brain. The why, on the other hand, is the dopaminergic, I can't even say it, that's why I can't say it. It's the dopamine reward system within the brain. That's the why. And you need both. You need to tackle the how, which is having the know-how, the skills, the plan, the push. And you also got to have the why. And the why is what comes into play when you know what to do, but you can't do it. It's how you hack the motivation. And what studies reveal is that this is hard because new behaviors, they're rarely as motivating. As much as we may love to make a plan and you may love to buy a new journal, or I used to love to buy a new planner. You know, when you buy a new calendar for the new semester and it feels like the new you. I just loved the planning part. Have you ever had that experience where you're all excited to go to the gym? You're all excited to try this new routine. You're all excited for this new habit. And the day one that comes, no motivation at all. I mean, it makes sense because why would you want to try that new HIIT exercise when you know that watching Netflix, something you do all the time, is way more enjoyable? That's why having both is super important. You cannot just have the why you want to do it with no plan. That doesn't work. And you also can't have a plan and have no reason why you want to get it done. And when you really stop and think about your goals this way, having a why and a how, it's what's going to get you excited. And if you're somebody that continues to make goals, but you constantly give up on them, I'm going to tell you something right now. Those goals are not linked to something that you value, to a core belief. And the second that you make that link and you make these goals personal, holy cow, you will be unstoppable. So, we've covered the two components of goals based on the research at University of Oregon. I've asked you to walk through the questions of the why and the how about the goals that you're starting to set. And I want to say something right now. If you're starting to feel like the things you wrote down in the beginning are not the goals that you want, that's great. You may change things up completely from the beginning of this episode, the middle of the episode, and the end of the episode. That's the point of this. Listening to research is not going to change your life. Applying the research will. So please, as you're gaining insight and as you're taking this and as you're taking these tools that I'm sharing with you and you're applying them to the way that you're thinking about your own goals for the next year, please allow yourself to change. Please allow yourself to modify the goals because that is going to help you achieve them. So, Amy, you and I have reinvented ourselves.
Yes.
And in the past 14 years, we have both gone from working for somebody else to figuring out how to launch our own business. And I'm going to get to your story in a minute, but I want to put something into context for everybody. Guys, I first started making money online 5 years ago.
5 years ago. That was like yesterday.
And I was 49 years old, Amy.
Okay, I love to hear this.
If this old dog can figure out how this internet thing works and how to like march toward my curiosity about it and how to learn this stuff.
Yes.
I mean, there are people, everybody out there who are way stupider than you, making way more money than you because they stopped and they paid attention to what we're about to tell you today. You can do this. And Amy is living proof. She has taught 50,000 students, more than 50,000 students, how to take even, like you even start with people who are like, I have no idea what I want to do.
Absolutely no idea. Yes.
That's
and
crazy
they
to me.
figure it out and create incredible businesses. They blow their own minds.
Without any business experience.
Absolutely.
And why did you want to help people do this? And what do you want the person listening right now as they're driving to a job that they hate, or they're taking a walk in a neighborhood that they wish they didn't live in, or they are unemployed, they've been laid off, they're beating themselves up. What do you want to tell them they are going to get out of this conversation today?
I want them to know that there's an entirely new world waiting for them. They don't even know what's possible yet for their future. And it's not inside a cubicle or commuting to a 9-to-5 job. There's a whole other world out there that you can take as your own. And the reason I know that is because that is my own story 14 years ago. So because it was a new world to me and I ran with it, now I help other people do the same.
Okay, so you've got a world-class expert here that has held the hands of 50,000 people, and these 50,000 plus students that she has taught everybody. They are no more smarter than you. They are no more qualified than you. They simply were in the position that you're in right now, where they bumped into this conversation and it had them experience a whole different possibility for their life.
Yes.
And that's my mission. My mission is to wake your ass up. My mission is to have you flush that stupid shit you're telling yourself that you're too young. Oh, I'm just great. I don't have anything to offer anybody. How can I make money online? Bullshit. You're actually tech native. Of course you could do this if you change your mindset. Oh, but Mel, I'm not 49. I'm 60. How am I going to do this? You're going to do this by stopping that bullshit that's spewing out of your mouth and getting serious about listening to two women. She has made $85 million in the past 14 years teaching people how to do this. And you want to know why I'm saying that number? Because I'm damn proud of her. And I also think if you put your head down and you listen to what some expert like Amy is about to tell you, and you pick up her book and you read the blueprint, you can figure this out too. This is about teaching yourself something new. It's about telling yourself something different. And that's what we're going to do. And I want to tell you a quick story about how perspective changing things can be. And then we're going to hear your story, Amy. So I remember when I was in law school, right?
Yeah.
I grew up in a teeny tiny town in Michigan. And then I go to college in a teeny tiny town in New Hampshire.
Okay.
And I was sort of like your meat and potatoes kind of gal. I was not the biggest experimental eater like I am now. And I remember one of my really good friends, shout out to Sydney, she was a super cool lady and she grew up in Providence, Rhode Island, and she was multicultural family, like super cool. And I remember she invited me to leave the campus, the law school campus, and go into Boston
Okay.
to this restaurant called Jay's. And her boyfriend, who was older, was going to take the two, law school students with no money out. And it was a Thai restaurant. And I had never been in a Thai restaurant before. And so we sit down. I had no idea what to order. And so they just order the pad Thai. When this thing arrived in front of my, plate there, when this
What
plate
did you think when you saw that pad Thai that you'd never seen before?
I was like, what the hell is the eggs and chicken and shrimp and these noodles? And it's like pasty, tacky, weird texture and peanuts and bean sprouts. So I just shoveled a fork in and I just took a bite. It was like a unicorn in my mouth. It was the most delicious thing I had ever. And I had this thought, there is an entire world I have been missing out on because I just didn't know. I just didn't know.
Yes.
And that is what this conversation's about. It's like a pad thai for your career. There is a whole world that you have not considered as seriously as I want you to, because you just didn't know. Like I didn't know you could make money online. You know, Amy's the kind of person that knows how to tap into that confidence that is inside you to make a pivot. And I know that reinvention is a hot topic. Our project on Audible, Reinvent Your Life with Mel Robbins, is #1 on Audible. Everybody is feeling this need to change something about their lives. And when you take your career and your ability to make money into an entirely different level, it's extraordinary how that impacts your life. And Amy has been able to not only teach herself how to do that, but to teach so many other people how to do that, how to find financial freedom, how to get control of your time, how to create a life where you get to work when and where and with whomever you want to work. And do not tune this out. This is possible for you. I don't care what your life looks like right now. This is possible for you. And that's why I wanted Amy to sit here and give you a zero-cost masterclass in thinking differently and taking control of your freaking life starting today. So Amy, what was your pad thai moment in your career?
My pad thai moment was 14 years ago. I was working for peak performance coach Tony Robbins, and I had an amazing job. I was the director of content, traveling the world, working on the content that he did on stage. However, I didn't realize in that moment that I had never been free. And here's what happened. Tony brought in a bunch of business owners to the San Diego office. They happened to be all men, and they were making money online. And so he brought them into this office. It was this big oak table, and I was called in to take notes. So
now, okay, so first of all,
yes.
Were you annoyed by that?
Well, it was kind of common for the content department to take notes. But yeah, there's a little bit of me like, I want to be in the action. I want to be doing the things. But yeah, I was on a side table.
Oh, so you were not even at the big table with the boys.
No.
You were on the side,
I was on the side
taking the notes.
Yes.
Okay.
So here I came into this meeting, but thank God I did, because here's what happened. I started to take notes, and these guys started to talk about their businesses, what they do, what life looks like, what their lifestyle is, what their family life looks like. Like, they were really talking about their whole experience as business owners. And all of a sudden I realized, wait a second. They're working when they want, where they want, how they want. They're creating these amazing products. They're being as creative as they want to be. They're on their own time and on their own dime. And I realized I have never been free. I have never been my own boss. I will always hit a glass ceiling. I will always have to ask for a raise, always have to ask if I could take vacation. I was not the boss of my own life or my business. And in that moment, a light bulb went off, and I thought, I want it. I have no idea what they're doing. I don't know how to do any of it, but I want it. And so that was the moment for me. But the next thing that happened was this flood of doubt. And I looked to my friend who was in the meeting with me, and I said, I have no skill where I could be my own boss. I know nothing that I could be my own boss.
I want to stop right there, because I think this moment where you're sitting in a meeting and you experience something.
Yeah.
This like wake up call happens in your body. And I've had a moment like that. It's way bigger than a pad thai moment.
Yeah.
I was sitting in an audience, and I was at an Oprah Winfrey, like kind of one of these live your best life tours. This would have been a decade ago, decades ago, actually, probably 2 decades ago at this point. And I was there because I was networking to try to get clients for my life coaching business. I had just started this on the side. I was working full time, doing business development for a advertising agency in the big tech kind of bubble that happened in the early 2000 timeframe. And on the side, I was trying to build a business as a life coach, full of doubt. So I go to this Oprah Winfrey concert. It was actually it was like an event that she held, a one-day summit to like live your best life. And so I'm sitting in the big audience, and Oprah's on stage, and then she introduces this woman that I'd never heard of. Her name was Martha Beck. And Martha Beck walks out, and I don't even remember what the hell she said. I had never heard of her. I had no clue what she did. But she started talking, and there was something inside of me that was like, I want that. And it was the same thing you're talking about, which is this taste of I've never thought about the word free, because there I was actually, I had lied to my employer. I had taken the day and I had told them I was somewhere else and I had gone to this thing for myself.
Yeah.
And so here I am, completely out of integrity, getting paid by somebody else to sit in a place where I'm prospecting for my side hustle that hasn't even launched yet. And I realized when she walks on the stage, holy shit, that's what I want. And I didn't even know what that meant. I just knew that I wanted the freedom that she seemed to have. She was writing books. She was clearly writing for Oprah. She had written her first book. She was now talking about that first book on a stage. I didn't know what I would write about. I didn't know what I would speak about. I was scared to think
Yes.
about being on that stage. That is the moment. And so I want to hit pause and I want to talk to the person, you, right now listening to us. I want to talk to you because I need you to start to pay attention to those moments. You don't have to have the answers to change your life. You have to have that moment where you go, I want something more for myself. And what I wanted is I wanted to be able to go to an event without lying to my boss. Well, I could have just not lied, but you know what I mean. I wanted to
Yes.
be able to go to an event because I was going to go to an event. I wanted to be able to work when I wanted to work, but I did not know how the hell do you go from that moment to knowing what the hell the right next step is? Because you're right. What happens next is, well, you're dumb. You got nothing to offer. You're this, you're that. Like, how did you go from, okay, there's all these dudes sitting around the table. I'm basically the secretary, no offense to secretaries, in the corner. And
Right.
I am sitting here being exposed to something that I'm not part of this club.
Yes. So the first thing, all those doubts came rushing in. And then I learned something a long time ago that if you're watching someone do something and you feel a little bit jealous, like,
Yep.
look what they have, or angst around it, which I had, like, I wanted what they had, even though I didn't totally get it. Whenever you have a feeling of jealousy or angst or you want it, ask yourself, what do they have that you want? Like, get really clear. What is it about their life that you think is so attractive or you'd like to go through it? Because I had to get clear about what I wanted. And in that moment, I thought, they get to be their own boss. Like, that's what they have that I have never had. So I think clarity in terms of what you want is the first big step. You talk about that a lot. What do you want? And so once I got clear on, I don't want a job anymore, I want to call the shots, then I had to start thinking, what would I do? Because I had no clue. So for the next few months, I kind of went through this process that now I teach called the sweet spot, which is figuring out what might you want to do.
Wow. Okay. I am so excited to go through this with you. I cannot wait to send this to approximately 100 people because I feel like I have those kind of epiphanies probably once a week.
Yes.
Even if you look at me or you look at Amy and you're like, they got it all figured out. I still have these wake up calls all the time.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
we just had one yesterday where we were
We
talking about, wouldn't it be nice to be able to support other female entrepreneurs with investment money? Like, maybe we should step into like starting an investment fund. And we both looked at each other and we're like, well, I don't know how to do that. I don't either, but we kind of feel interested. So that's sort of the moment we're talking about. And I want to give the audience a real range, okay, of scenarios where you could have this wake up call, because I feel like for those of you that are in your 20s and 30s that listen to this podcast, you're probably part of the demographic that looks at everybody that is an influencer or a YouTuber, or they are travel bloggers, or they are now starting their line of supplements, or they are doing exercise videos, and you're now streaming exercise videos from somebody who's largely your age. And you have this thing where you're like, wow, I'd really like to do that. What Amy and I are here to tell you is that is the power moment. That is the eye-opening moment. That's it. That awakening is the only thing you need in order to pivot your life in a new direction. Because we are lucky enough, and Amy's going to talk about this, to live in a world where if you want to create an online exercise studio, if you want to take your catering business or your grandmother's tomato sauce, that everybody compliments and start selling it, you can figure out how to do it, but you have to honor the wake-up call.
Yes.
You have to honor this thing inside you because Amy's right. How many times have you seen somebody you're jealous of, or you've had this moment of inspiration and you've been like, nope, not going to happen for me? And so I want you to know that that's takeaway number one. That takeaway number one is that wake-up call is going to change your life if you're willing to look for it and if you're willing to hit the pause button when it happens. Now, for those of you that are like, yeah, okay, so I don't want what my life currently looks like. That's enough.
Yes.
So talk to me about this thing that you walk people through.
Yes. So it's called the sweet spot formula.
Okay.
And I developed it because it's essentially what I did to leave my last 9-to-5 job and start this business. And it has 4 quadrants. We'll walk them through the 4 quadrants, okay? This first quadrant of the sweet spot is, what are you good at? What do people always say? Like, how do you do that? That comes so easy to you, because what comes easy to you does not come easy to everybody else. Where have you gotten results? Where have you gotten results in your personal life or your business life? So maybe you're an accountant and you do really good in your job. So you have all these skills that could absolutely translate into your own business. But maybe you don't want to be an accountant, but at home, you're really good at getting your picky eater, your toddler, to eat everything. And other moms are like, how do you get your kids to eat all these vegetables? What are you doing? And you have all these little secret things you do. That could be a business. So start looking around. But here's the beauty. You only need a 10% edge. When people start to think about, what might I do in a business? Oh, I need more education. I need certification. I need more time. You don't need any of that. You already have a business in you. 10% edge. You need to be 10% ahead of those that you want to help and serve.
So funny. I just talked to my husband about this.
Yeah.
So Chris is, the founder of this men's retreat, Soul Degree, and he's starting this online huddle, a 9-month-long program. And he's like, I don't think I'm ready. I don't have it all figured out. I said, dude, you need to be one training ahead of everybody else. That's all that you need to be. And I think that that's kind of one of those things that gets us in the way. Number 1, your dreams matter, period. Number 2, having dreams and fanning the flame of those dreams, it's going to make you 10 times more successful than ignoring them. Number 3, your dreams are your responsibility. And that's a good thing. Because when you accept responsibility for not only tapping into those dreams and giving yourself permission to claim those dreams and to feel those dreams and to work toward those dreams, you take responsibility for creating meaning in your life, for momentum, for growth, for goodness, for purpose, like all the good stuff that you deserve. And so the times in my life where I have given myself permission to dream, to want something, to just desire the things that I want just because I desire them, that's when I'm on fire in life. That's when things are working. When I'm arguing against myself, when I'm putting out my own flame, that's when I'm miserable. And so today we are going to get a master class in knocking it off. You're going to get a master coaching session. In fact, you're going to get to listen in live where I'm coaching somebody else. And I'm going to use this coaching session that happened a couple weeks ago in Los Angeles as a way to hold your hand and step by step coach you on recognizing what your dreams are and to coach you on knocking it off. Your dreams are not a joke. Your dreams are serious business. And today we are going to get into the business of your dreams. And then I'm going to coach you on a simple thing you can do every single day to get deeply connected to those dreams, to train your brain to help you achieve those dreams. And don't you worry. We're going to do lots of other episodes about tools and momentum and continuing to make them a reality. But we got to get clear that your dreams matter. Enough with denying, okay? So here's how we're going to do this. A couple weeks ago, I was in Los Angeles, and I was doing a live event with a friend of mine named Kathy Heller. Now, you may know of Kathy Heller. She's an incredible podcaster, and she is a best-selling author, and she and I did this live event. It's really awesome with this audience in Los Angeles a couple weeks ago. And during the event, it was my birthday. Kathy surprised me with a birthday cake. And her sister Barbara came up. And her sister Barbara is this really awesome comedian and actor. And she did an impersonation of me. Here's the catch. One of my gifts is I have, I'd say, 100% accurate intuition. And the second Barbara got on that stage, my intuition went crazy. And I just knew this was a person who had given up on her dreams. And so I decided to go there. And what you're about to listen in on is a coaching session between me and a woman named Barbara. Barbara has a dream. She's very clear about what it is. Since she was 18 years old, she has known that she has wanted to be an actor. She has known that she has wanted to tour as a comic. She's known that she'd love to have a stand-up special on Netflix. She's been working at it, everyone, for over 25 years. She has come so close. And when I met her a couple weeks ago, she had given up on that dream. She had left LA. She had moved to Florida. And little did she know, she was about to get an ass kicking of a lifetime.
Hi, my name is Jessica. I currently live in Southern New Hampshire and I'm 39 years old. How can I get started on my dreams and make them a reality? Where do I start, Mel? There's so much self-doubt. It's overwhelming and I just don't know where to begin.
Okay, I love this question from Jessica because I can almost hear you nodding. I can feel it. Even though I can't see you, I can feel you going, There. How do I get started, Mel? This is the single most common question I get. Once somebody knows what they want to change or why they want to change it, the next big question is how. And so I'm going to answer Jessica's question in two parts because there are two parts to how. The first part is easy. It's the doing part. And how you get started when it comes to taking action and you don't know what to, quote, do, this is easy. Just go to Google. I'm dead serious about this. Google has the answer to everything. If you simply go to Google or go to YouTube and type in the change you want to make or the goal that you have or the thing that you want to create in your life, you will probably get 6.3 million search results. And every single one of the links that you click on will give you a long list of things that you could probably do. And I'm not being a smartass here. The fact is, the steps that you need to take action-wise are super simple. The reason why you're stuck is because of the second part of her question. Now, did you notice she said at the very end, my self-doubt, my self-doubt? Because one of the reasons why you get stuck is because of the doubt. And this is where working on your dreams and your goals gets really tricky. Because if your own mindset is working against you, you're actually never going to feel inspired or motivated or encouraged to take the actions that Google result just told you to take. And so we got to focus on your mindset first and foremost when it comes to where do I start? Because I want to play this out with you. Let's just role play here. If you're sitting there going, I would love to become an opera singer, but I don't know, but self-doubt, but what if I sound stupid, but this, but that, but what if Uncle Willie's... If you start doubting your ability to make that happen, how motivated do you feel? If you're sitting there telling yourself that you can't do it or that it's not going to work. This is the reason why most people never even get started on their goals and dreams. Their thinking pattern is the problem because their self-doubt, their perfectionism, their lack of self-worth, it's convincing you not to take the action. And this is such a common problem that Jessica's not the only one that has actually submitted a question about this. I got a ton of them. Today is the day we're going to stop arguing against your dream and we're going to turn toward it and we're going to start fanning it. So I promised you an exercise because step one is you have to get honest with yourself. and claim what you want. That's step one. And so I'm going to tell you that. And I want you to think about your dream. I want you to think about what's calling you. I want you to think about the thing that would be so magical if you could make it happen. But you've been arguing against yourself. And I want you to allow yourself to claim it. And as you sit there and think about the dream in your own life, let's go back to Los Angeles. Let's go back to that stage. And let's check in with Barbara, because I'm going to ask her to start getting honest. And what I want you to pay attention to is I want you to pay attention to how much she starts to joke and make excuses and dismiss how serious I am about dreams. Maybe you needed to move to South Florida to actually feel and understand in your soul who you are and what you want. It's a scary thing to admit what you want.
Yeah.
Because it's true. It might not happen.
Right. Yeah. And it's not, I've come so close to it happening so many times, and it hurts so much. It's all so scary. There's part of me that's like, no, don't do that.
But why is it scary?
Because I don't want to go into debt, and I want to like be at least somewhere. So I thought, well, I have this,
But here's what I want you to understand. You have not gotten honest with yourself about what you actually want. You're putting all the energy into, but I don't want to go into debt, but I don't want to do this, but I don't want to do that.
So then you do that anyway.
Yes. That's the first step. Honesty. And it's very sobering when you get honest. Because for many of us, I mean, look at me. I spent 11 years making excuses for why I couldn't start a podcast. And all those excuses and the dancing around and the, brushing it off and the, I'm not really that serious about it. It's painful. Your dream isn't painful. Like she's talking about how scared she is that the dream's not going to turn out. What's actually painful is how much energy you're putting into avoiding what you want and what you deserve. And the three big ways that we extinguish that flame inside of us and we put distance between ourselves and the dreams that are meant for us is, number one, we literally downplay them. Anytime you make a joke about your dream, anytime you're like, I'm not that serious about it, you are putting distance between you and your dream. You're taking a bucket of water and you're trying to extinguish the flame inside you. Anytime you make excuses, I don't have the money, I can't do it, I don't have the time, blah, 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 blah. Same thing. Cold bucket of water on that flame. Stop doing it. And the third thing, when she really gets honest, when you have that moment of reckoning with yourself and you can claim what you want, it's terrifying. It really is, because you allow yourself to feel desire. You allow yourself for just a second to feel possibility. Just imagine how incredible it would be to do a stadium tour and sing your own songs. And when you allow yourself to entertain the fact that that's the dream that's meant for you, you allow yourself to stand close to that flame. You allow it to burn a little brighter. And then we get scared. What if it doesn't happen? And you convince yourself that your dream is scary. And your dream isn't scary at all. Your excuses and your fear of it and your joking is what's scary. And so how do you keep this dream alive? And this is a really important exercise, particularly for those of you who say, I don't know what I want, Mel. I don't know what my dream is. I have a very simple exercise that I've taught to hundreds of thousands of people. It's backed by science. And this is an exercise that is going to help you get back in touch with dreaming. See, I think part of the problem is that we've all gotten into this mode where we don't want to get our expectations up. So we put a lid on our own desires. We don't allow ourselves to want what we want. We don't allow ourselves to be in touch with the things that we really long for. And it's the fact that you won't even give yourself permission to dream. That's also making you feel unworthy. And so how are we going to tap back into this dream inside you? How are we going to get your desires flowing freely? How are we going to get you to start to believe that you're worthy of the things that you long for? I'll tell you how. It's very simple. Every single morning, you are going to make a cup of coffee or tea, and as part of your morning routine, you are simply going to write down 5 dreams a day. That's it. 5 dreams a day. You are going to make it a habit to claim what you want, if only by writing it on a piece of paper. And having taught this to hundreds of thousands of people, I already know what your questions are going to be. Are they the same things I write down? Are they big things? Are they little things? Are they things that can happen? What are they, Mel? Here's how you're going to do this. Do not overthink it. Sit down. You have a blank piece of paper. And just write down 5 things you want. It could be, I want that new Gucci handbag. And you might not be able to pay for groceries right now. It might be, I want my puppy to stop pooping on the living room rug. It might be, I want to be the #1 podcast host in the world. It might be, I want to do a stadium tour. I want to write a song that helps heal the world. I want to have a wonderful relationship with my mom, who I currently hate. Your dreams are yours. Do not judge them. Do not shrink them. This exercise is about clearing out the blockage and the gunk that has blocked the highway between your heart and your soul and what you will give yourself permission to want and desire in your life. Your self-doubt, your feeling that you're not worthy, your excuses, your people-pleasing, it's all blocking your access to this longing, to this dream within you. And so we got to just get the gears turning. We got to get these, like, kind of the, I don't even know what you call it, but this is a way to, like, grease the gears and get you free flowing. Why shouldn't you do a stadium tour? Why shouldn't you have that new Gucci handbag? If that's what you want. You can certainly do the work to get it. Why shouldn't you be happy or healthy or heal your cancer? These dreams are there for a reason. We got to get them out of your head where you bury them with excuses, and we got to get them into the world in real time where you can see them on a piece of paper. Now, reason number 1 why you're going to do this, 5 dreams a day. They can be the same dreams. They can be different dreams. They can be big dreams. They can be little dreams. They can be thematic. They can be specific stuff. They can be anything you want. We just need to get your dreams and your desires flowing freely without you putting the lid on, invalidating, or arguing against them. So there's a second reason why this exercise is so effective. And it has to do with something called the Zeigarnik effect. Now, the Zeigarnik effect is a extraordinarily well-documented effect in your brain that was first discovered by a Lithuanian psychologist named Bluma Zeigarnik. And she had her first study published about psychology and this theory in 1927. So this has been around for a long time. And what is the Zeigarnik effect? Well, the Zeigarnik effect is this. Inside of your brain, there is a mental checklist function. And whenever something is important to you, your brain is like, oh, ding, ding, ding. I guess she wants to do a stadium tour. Oh, ding, ding, ding. I guess she wants to get her cholesterol down. Whenever something's important to you, your brain takes notice. It opens up a mental checklist. And then your brain has this really interesting function where it will now work with you to help remind you of this thing that's important to do. It's like a little to-do list in your brain. And the Zeigarnik effect is once your brain knows something is important, and it's important if you keep writing it down, your brain is going to go to work trying to help you get it done. And the Zeigarnik effect is so pronounced that it is used, everybody, in software design. Yep. You know how they talk about gamification? You know how you got to film out a form and then all of a sudden a little reminder pops up that like, you're 64% complete? Well, that's the Zeigarnik effect. That's this mental checklist thing saying you're not done yet. You got a little bit more to go. And so this is so effective. And so again, I'm going to summarize this and I'm also going to help you. If you go to melrobbins.com/dreambig, melrobbins.com/dreambig, I got a free download for you. Not only are we going to give you some of the key takeaways from this episode, but we're going to give you prompts so that you can print out this free sheet and use it every single morning to write down your 5 dreams, to tap into the Zeigarnik effect inside your brain to help you keep those dreams alive and to help you start letting your desires and your worthiness flow freely through you. Okay, so we've covered a couple key topics so far. Your dreams are not a joke. They matter. You got to claim them. This exercise of writing down 5 things you want every single morning is going to tap into that superhighway, and it's going to help you build the neural pathways to give yourself permission to want things. It's going to help you tap into this flame inside you that is burning and that is begging for you to let it help you. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to talk about the fact that once you get in touch with this dream, you know what you're going to do? You're going to do what everybody does. You're going to start arguing against it. You're going to start making jokes. You're going to start making excuses. You're going to start getting afraid. Because once this dream keeps showing up on that piece of paper every morning, once you start to feel the pull of your heart, once you start to notice, as I have for the last 8 years, that everybody and their mother has a podcast except for me, you're going to start to feel the pain of not working toward it. And instead of turning toward our dream, you know what we all do? We do what you're going to hear Barbara doing back in LA. You're going to hear her kicking up a dust storm of excuses, of jokes, of reasons, of this. But here's the difference. She had Mel Robbins on her ass that day, and I was not going to have any of it. Because your dreams are not a joke. Your dreams are serious business that demand and deserve your attention. What if you lived in South Florida and you were comfortable and you were big?
And I was big?
Big. Like big, big, big.
Well, I tried that.
Okay.
I actually am like a big fish in like the Jewish community.
Yeah, but so hold on a second.
Yeah.
Stop making a joke of this.
Okay, I'm sorry, you're right.
No, I'm serious. Because this is how you block
Yes,
honesty.
it's true. Yep. Yeah, I'm funny.
So you are funny.
No,
But being unhappy is not funny.
no, it's really, really, really not. Especially when you have a sister who's like so good at being happy.
Yeah, but stop making jokes.
Sorry, it's so hard not to. You're so amazing. I want to
No,
entertain you.
no, I don't want you to entertain me. I want you to be honest with me.
Okay. Hi.
So what do you want? Do you want to move back to LA and give it another try?
Yes, and I almost did, and then I was like, politics and crime, and I'm scared.
So this, what you're witnessing here, is you're witnessing somebody who is literally trying to extinguish her own flame with jokes. And you are not having this moment of reckoning with yourself.
Yeah.
I am telling you
Yeah.
that what you're witnessing, we all do this shit. You maybe do it through excuses or heaviness in terms of your emotions or the pity party or the, like for me, always kind of scanning for what's wrong. And if I don't see it out there, I find it in here. Your form of this is jokes. It's how you get attention. It's how you get love. And it has so overtaken you that you're not even honest with yourself about what you want. And the second you get honest with yourself, like this is no joke. Like at the end of this, you die.
Yeah.
And so you can absolutely be a happy person. You can be big. You can be big in South Florida or in LA, but you're not going to do it by making a joke about everything. And it begins with you being serious with yourself. Like, you don't have to share it here, but what you write in that journal better be honest.
Yeah.
Because it can't be funny. Like, your dreams are not funny. Your dreams are serious business. And you have within you the ability to literally write it down and say, by God, I'm going to do whatever it takes until this happens. Because here's what would be way worse, everybody. What would be way worse is that you spent the next 40, 50 years wishing you had done it. Do you hear everybody there? I want to talk to you because I'm serious about this. You have to be honest with yourself. I do not want you to spend another day wishing you had done it. You know, I'm sitting here right now with everybody that is on our team as we're recording this podcast, and I'm looking at everybody, and you know, I'm thinking, my God, you know, I looking at Cameron, and I'm like, she almost went to law school, and she felt this flame inside her going, go in a different direction. She didn't know what to do next. She just knew that something else was meant for her. Thank God she didn't go to law school. Thank God she turned toward that pull. Thank God she fanned the flame. Because here's the one tool you need. This is the only tool you need in order to align with your dreams. Every single day when you wake up, you're going to do those little, you're going to write down the 5 dreams. That's a way to get your desires flowing again. That's a way to teach yourself how to start dreaming with the lid off. That's a way for you to really start to get yourself in touch with what your mind, body, and spirit are trying to wake you up to and have you pay attention to. The things in your life that make you come alive, that make you grow. You're supposed to walk toward that light. You're not supposed to argue against it. And so every single day, you're going to be working on, okay, I got to let myself desire things. I got to give myself permission to want things. Like, I'm allowed to do that. Not only am I allowed to do that, I actually need to. It's part of my life force. And I'm not saying you're just going to sit around and wish for shit to happen. You're going to have to work for it. That's how you get it in life, but you won't get where you're meant to go if you can't even claim what's meant for you. And it is a practice of honesty. And it's a practice of giving yourself permission. It's a practice of worthiness. It's a practice of self-love. And so you're going to start there, but let me tell you the simple thing every single day when you wake up. You can just ask yourself, am I for or against my dream today? Am I for or against my dream? It's really that simple. Your dreams are your responsibility. Are you for them today? Or are you against them? There's no middle ground, by the way, because if you're neutral, you're against. You are either for that dream inside you or you're against it. So what does that mean? Well, when you're arguing against your dream, guess what? You're not for it. When you're making excuses, are you for it? No. When you are afraid of it happening or not happening, are you for it? No. Being for your dream is, first of all, being in touch with it. So simply being in touch with it and claiming it, that's a way to be for it. Another way to be for it is to see reasons why it's your dream, to see evidence that it could happen, to see everybody else out there. In my world, it was people that were launching podcasts. Instead of seeing them as reasons why my flame was out, see them as evidence that, yes, my flame too is going to burn brighter, that they are lights on the path. I said earlier that it is essential when you're going through a challenging time. Your dreams matter more than ever then, because if you give up on your dreams when you're feeling lost or on autopilot or you're facing heartbreak, you literally give up a lifeline that is part of your DNA. See, your dreams remind you that this challenge is temporary. Your dreams remind you that there's something greater ahead. Your dreams remind you that this moment, it's a blip. It's a dot. It's part of the path leading you somewhere that you're meant to go. Your dreams help you through challenging times. So don't give up on them. You got to double down on them if things are challenging. That's the best time to create something new. That's the best time to tap into that fire inside you. You need that fire at that time. That's why it's there. You see, I think your dreams have this incredible purpose that nobody understands. What if I told you you're actually not supposed to achieve your dreams? Yep, you're not supposed to achieve your dreams. The reason why I can say that is because your dreams are not a destination. Your dreams are a directional signal. Your dreams are like this compass inside you, this GPS system that's hardwired in you. You were born with it. It's like a beacon, a lighthouse out in the future. It's pulling you through your problems towards something greater. It is showing you that there's something awesome to look forward to. It's giving you a reason to have hope, something bigger to believe in. Those dreams pull you through your fears. They make you grow. They push you through your self-doubt. That's why they're there. They show you the way. It doesn't matter whether you achieve them or not. What matters is, do you hear the call? Do you fan the flame? Do you wake up every day and allow yourself to feel those things that are meant for you and fan the flame and be the person that is the force, the yes, the loudest voice for them? It doesn't matter what everybody else thinks. Who gives a shit what anybody else thinks, honestly? And if they haven't achieved your dreams, why the fuck are you asking their opinion anyway? They don't know how to get there. And your dreams, by the way, are not meant for somebody else. That's why they don't understand them. And here's another thing that you're doing. You are literally looking for validation from people who can't even cheer their own selves on. Like, how can somebody who's not even pursuing their dreams help or celebrate you as you're trying to pursue yours? See, this comes back to it being your responsibility. This is an inside job. And when you really wrap your brain around this, life gets freaking magical. Doesn't mean it's always like roses. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy as you walk toward those dreams. But there is nothing more fulfilling than waking up every day and knowing that you are the loudest cheerleader that you got. Knowing that you believe that this thing is possible. Knowing that you're the one that's for this, that you're validating the things that are deep inside of you. That is an incredible way to go through life. And so every single day, you're going to be waking up. You're going to be writing your 5 things down. You can go to melrobbins.com/dream big because I want you dreaming big. I want you dreaming big. In fact, you don't even realize how much you limit yourself. Kathy Heller, who did that live event with me in LA, she has this really amazing thing that she does that I've heard her do, and I'm going to share it with you, but this is her idea, so I want to give her credit. I want you to imagine there's a blank check in front of you. Blank check. And you could pay yourself whatever you want to make this year. Whatever you want to make this year, go ahead and write it down on that check. What'd you write? $100,000, $250,000, $500,000, $1 million. Who wrote that number? I'll tell you who wrote the number. The lid. Why not 5 million? Why not 10 million? And again, if you can just play with me that your dreams are not meant to be achieved. They're not the destination. They're a directional signal. Maybe you're supposed to write 5 million down because that's going to inspire something in terms of your self-worth. It's going to awaken something. Instead of thinking about what's possible, tap into what's true. You would love that. In fact, you'd be willing to work for that if I could convince you could make it happen. And so the problem is you limit what you claim for yourself because you're thinking about what's possible or what you deserve instead of tapping into what you actually desire. That's a huge mistake. See, a car can probably go 180 miles an hour. That's sort of like, I'm going to drive 40. You haven't even tapped into the potential. I mean, obviously, you don't want to get pulled over and, it could be illegal on the ride. You know what I mean by that analogy. Hey, it's Mel. Thank you so much for checking this video out. And if you like this one, I have a feeling you're going to like this one too. I'll see you there.